Hold on. Wrong one.
You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Well, we're off to a great start. I flipped the banners to the roundtable, but I didn't flip the media assets. So, yay. Welcome to SA Soccer Roundtable, or is it SAFC FanCast? I'm not sure. We were off frozen last week, I believe, right? Right here with the games being canceled out and weather and all that fun stuff. So, Rafa, how are you? I see you're sporting some gear.
Yeah, Sulphur Springs Invitational. Thank you guys for the shirt. Still here in Killeen, Texas. I'll be in Lampasas, and then I'll head back to San Antonio. Hope you'll be able to watch some games.
Lampasas had a big win. Lampasas had a big win over
Fredericksburg boys. Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that as kind of a surprise for that here. So tonight, because we learned our lesson a couple of weeks ago where we cannot do standings and RPI because then that takes way too long. So we're going to just do standings. I'm going to ask a couple of questions about what teams have impressed, what teams have work to do, maybe a little bit disappointing or a little bit down in the standings than expected. And then, we're mainly going to be focused on standings where clubs are at this, where schools are at this point. And then me doing a little pre-work for the bracketology. For 6A, I've kind of got just a sneak peek of where things are at now. Maybe next week, while we do the RPI, maybe I'll try to do 4A and 5A and maybe 6A because it's just a matter of updating it depending on through there instead of doing the full schedules. But just saying, hey, this is a snapshot of what we'd be looking at between D1, D2 for that here. Rafa, outside of being frozen last week, I think you and I both saw our first Mercy rule game last night. I saw O'Connor, get past Marshall 8-0 and a game that could have been worse. But O'Connor, late in the first half, second half, started passing around, wasn't really attacking the goal. Had substitutes in and out, before they got the last goal for that here. Saw Jay and MacArthur in a fun physical match, both in JV and varsity for that here. And then saw O'Connell Marshall, which was a surprising match. I think Marshall's going to surprise people, at least from what I saw last night. And then last week? Where did I go last week? Southwest. South Sand. Yeah, South Sand.
Yeah, South Sand. And then we were at the South Sand game for the girls.
Yeah, so for me, like I said here, obviously my son plays for Jay, so I typically, will follow him around. Obviously, that's, my son's playing. So for there, but where have you been? You've been outside of San Antonio. You mentioned up in the Clean area.
Yeah, so I've been road tripping, so I'll be doing covering some special games. So I got to experience my first ever Mercy Rule game. So I had the pleasure to watch one of the 4A girls state powers, Salado. Very interested to see how, what type of team they were, how good they were. And so they met up against LaGrange. And if you see some of the clips I put on X, they scored in bunches. And, they pretty much the game was over by not even halfway through the first half. The first half of the half. And basically they played keep away for a good 30, 35 minutes, but very talented team, but like I said, props to LaGrange too. Like I said, they showed up, they didn't quit, they played with heart. And but yeah, keep an eye on that LaGrange team. The Salado team. I think depending on where they end up on the bracket, I think they may be a favorite there, especially for Region 3. I do know they have a tough game coming up with Giddings. Giddings might be the one that might, throw a little monkey wrench on them. But it was fun, and there was a couple other games here. SanAntonio Central boys traveled all the way here to play Chaparral. They got a 1-0 win. This is right before the weather kind of turned bad. Luckily, they didn't play yesterday because it was bad yesterday with all the rain. So, but like I said, I think Passes played last night too. Tuesday night, they got a big win over Fredericksburg boys. So some great soccer here in the Centex. So just representing us and 50-50 here, just to showcase all the soccer here in the state of Texas.
So I know I'll just say pot stir on this one. Lethal put out another poll about the mercy rule. I see the benefit of it, but I also don't like it as well. I've been on teams that were not very good, and you just took it on the chin, and I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Morale, everything was down. It was a long season, but you still played. It still, to me, it gave opportunities for young kids, freshmen, sophomores, to be able to come in, get some minutes, learn. More importantly, even if you're able to continue to work on some of the things, because I think a lot of times we see this is with either young programs, especially in the 4A side there, where you've got established powers, and then you've got some of the newer schools for that, and then 6A, obviously you've got your powerhouses, but to me it's one of those, I kind of go back and forth. I understand why they have it, but I also I'll use Jay and South San. They were up 7-0, and then they subbed out, and you could tell they kind of took the pedal off the metal. For that here, South San did get a goal, which like I said here, it's great for them. Along those lines here. But your thoughts on it now that you saw your first one, and I know you made some comments, during the game here where. What is it actually benefiting the winning team by calling it, or because I think coaches are coaching to it now.
Yeah, what I saw from, like I said, on Tuesday night, I understand the mercy rule. I mean, because we saw some scores that from the Coastal Bend, they were like 18-0 and 15-0. Like, what the heck? Did they miss the 3 extra points or something? Or, I mean, I understand for that part, that end. But also, like I said, you mentioned about the younger players, you kind of also penalize them because, one, they lose 20 minutes out of I think that's valuable time, play time for them, especially if you have a bench that you're not very, confident in, and you're trying to develop them, because that not having a bench, as far as getting to certain game situations, you're going to rely on them, especially in the playoffs. And then for them not to kind of lose those 20 minutes, it kind of hurts them. And then you see them playing kind of keep away and stuff. I'm like, you only can do that for so many times. And there are some teams that, like I said, they're at the same level as some others, and I think the UIL is probably going to have to really kind of look at this re-examine this. How can we, make this a little bit better? That way, you don't want like I said, the kids to lose out on playing time, but also I understand you care about sportsmanship too. But like I said, your bench players, when they do come in, they want to show what they have. They can say, hey, they're fighting for minutes. They want to show, hey, coach, look what I can do. Give me time. You never know. I find that dumb in the rough, but if you don't give them enough time to play, it just hurts that, so it's hope maybe they'll look into it more. We'll see, but
I don't think they'll take it away though once it's implemented.
Yeah, they will take it away. Yeah, unless there's a big demand by the coaches, insane, especially with the Tasco side, is if they say, hey, look, this isn't really working out. Let me tell you this, why isn't there a mercy rule in basketball or in baseball?
Yeah, because one team
actually there isn't one in baseball and softball, but why isn't there one in basketball? We saw one team win by like almost 90 points in a district.
Almost 100, right? It was
Brennan versus Marshall.
Yeah, it was like 130 something or 128 to like 38, 39, somewhere along those lines. Yeah, and that was just last night, and along those lines. So
even football does. Well, the only one that does have a mercy rule is a 6-man. They have a 45-point mercy rule. But as far as the other teams, they don't. So, I mean, it's gonna have to be looked at again. What's the fair way? Now, do you end the game maybe 10 minutes before, let them go 30 more minutes?
What about just a running clock? Like the JV is pretty much just a running clock.
Believe it or
substitutions or.
They can do that. Believe it or not, actually, at this game that I went to, once they got to like 6-0, they started doing a running clock.
Oh, did they?
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, they could do that. I honestly think they should maybe extend it to maybe 10-0 and then 30 minutes into the half. Because, like I said, it's crucial time for your younger players. And, I know you're not trying to run up the score, but you can't penalize those players who are trying to, to show what they have out there and so forth. So it's like I say, I know he put that on the debate. I'm kind of curious about how others feel about it. Do you have anyone watching? Feel welcome to put your comments. But like I said, I think something they're gonna have to look at again next year. Maybe it's not gonna be perfect, but maybe something a little bit more reasonable as far as not cutting into players' playing time.
I just don't know if there's a perfect answer for it. Just because it's one of those. I'm older. Well, I'm a few years older than you. But like our generation played. If you were getting beat down, you sucked it up, and you just dealt with it. And like I've been on teams that didn't win anything. And it was a long year. I'd like to say it made me stronger. I don't know if it did or didn't, but through the hair. But let's get to some TAPPS action for that here. Like I said here, I thought it was an interesting night where we both flirted with it, but we'd never actually had seen it. And like I said here, it was just odd where. I was, keeping track of the 3 games because it was at, north, over in Gustafson with the grass fields. So I was able to watch the 2 grass fields and then check the scoreboard, in Gus. And
then we had Steve at Northeast too. So yeah, we got a big old network of big coverage for games. So
hey, Matt, where are you, man? Matt, I'm gonna call you out. You said you're gonna do some of the South Side schools. Where you at, man? I've been to the South Side more than you have. Just saying. For TAPPS here, so let's look into for the boys. No surprise in Division 1, District 3, Central Catholic 10-1-2, 3-0 in District. St. Michael's 6-3, St. Dominic, both of those in Austin, 6-3, but 2-1 and 2-2. TMI 1-2, and Antonian a little bit surprising at 0-3. On the season, especially after the last couple of years where they've had a little bit better records. I've been trying to see if I could find the TAPPS playoff brackets. They still haven't posted anything here to be able to see how they're doing for the TAPPS playoffs, whether it's all 5 or 4 or how they're going to do it. I think last year everybody made it, but like I said, I haven't been able to find the confirmation on that on the new TAPPS website as of yet. Your thoughts on Central Catholic, off to an outstanding year. They did have a loss last week to a UIL team, which I know you can go into a little bit more on that. But your thoughts on the Buttons?
Oh, this is still a great season for them. They're a talented team. Coach Valeri is a friend of mine. He's doing a great job there. I was there at that game that they did lose against Lee. Very competitive game, back and forth. And if you saw on X, I have actually the shot, that goal, that probably one of the goal of the weeks from that free kick, beautifully placed. They didn't quit. They kept fighting. They were trying to get back in it, but like I said, on that game, Lee was just a better team that day. And but like I said, they're bouncing. It's a good test for them because they fully understand once they get back to kind of district play. They have some real tough competition, especially with St. Michael's and Dominic Savio. And then, like I said, they want to finish the job this year. They've been kind of the bridesmaid the last couple of years, and I think they finally want to get that state championship. And I think, like I said, they have the talent to do it, and just have to kind of piece it a little bit more together. Once they get a little bit hot towards the end, like I said, I'd keep it. That's one team you probably don't want to play. But and as far as Antonio, and I'm like I said, I'm a little surprised too. It might be a rebuilding year for them. So they may have a large senior graduation senior class from last year. So they might be young, but maybe next year they'll bounce back. And TMI is in the thick of things. Moving up classifications, and they can still be, like I said, they're still a dangerous team. And like I said, maybe they can try to catch up to St. Dominic and try to get that third slot.
Moving to Division 2, District 3. To me, this surprised St. Mary's Hall. St. Mary's Hall, the Barons, 8-2. Not so much that they're up there, but just how competitive they've been. Because usually they've been in the 3 and the 4 slot, kind of battling through there. Brownsville St. Joseph, 4-1 on the year. SanAntonio Christian, 3-2. So a little bit took a couple of losses already in district. Laredo St. Augustine 2-2, and then Victoria St. Joseph and St. Anthony unfortunately off to a slow start. But to me, like Brownsville St. Joseph's, you figured was going to be there. SanAntonio Christian, maybe a little bit slow start in district. I know 5 games in, so they're in the heart of it here. But to me, at least in my opinion, St. Mary's is the early story or the early surprise, I guess, as far as the standings at this point.
Yeah, they've done so well so far. Now they did lose to like I said, Brownsville, St. Joe's, so that's their only loss. But like I said, they've had some key wins. They had like I said, they did beat St. Mary's did beat Central Christian. I think they do go to penalty kicks, I believe, after regulation. So they have a penalty kick win over them. But it's still tight. I think like I said, on the second go around, it's going to be key who can steal points from their, those away points that are going to be the key to who wins this district. We'll see. I don't know if St. Anthony still has a chance to catch up to St. Augustine. Only 2 games behind. I think it's not too late to turn things around, but they got to get on it. But I think it's going to be like I said, it's a 3-horse race here. But you see St. Joseph. Like I said, they've been the team. Like I said, the last 2 years have been the team to beat. So they'll sit there with Central Christian. So, but it's great to see St. Mary's Hall. Last year they've been kind of been in the middle of the pack now. So they're continuing it. Maybe this is the year they finally win a district title.
Thank you, Jesus. And then Division 3, District 5 for the boys. This one's kind of a little bit muddied up, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Corpus Christi, St. Paul II, 1-0-2. Corpus Christi and Carterwood, 1-1-1. Geneva, 1-0-1. The Christian School at Castle Hills, 1-1, and even Holy Cross is just an 0-2, just kind of a half game out, depending on how you want to read it. I don't know what to make of this one here. It's flip a coin.
it's up for grabs, and I think I know Geneva's going down to Incarnate Corpus, I think tomorrow. So it's a big game for them. If they can get a win, they can get back into, they'll actually literally take over first place because they'll have
depending on the other results. Yeah,
depending on the other results. So, So there's an opportunity for them. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to the last couple of games as to who wins where. But I have a feeling. I think probably these four that you have right now are probably going to end up playing getting into the playoffs. Holy Cross, they can get it, like I mentioned, get it together. You're not out of the woods yet, but you got to step it up.
They're competitive this year for here, so it wouldn't shock me. And like I said, it's just to me, like I said, this district here,
Yep.
or this district.
It's an even.
It's wide open.
One.
Yeah,
it's wide open. Yeah.
The Division 3, District 6, New Braunfels Academy 3, the Atonement Academy 2-1. JP2 Shirts, JP2 0-2, and Kerrville, Our Lady of the Hawks 0-2. Kerrville's not shocking because unfortunately historically they've kind of struggled, with the boys. But Shirts JP2 0-2 to me is not something that I'm used to seeing it, and especially in a 14 playoff or 14 district here.
Sure.
Just it's to me they're one of those ones that I've got questions on. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, this might be a thing for them that they're probably young. I think when you're a young team, you do struggle a bit. Maybe like I said, it's still early. They still have a chance. I mean, to get in. Technically, they might. All 4 teams may get in.
May get in. We got to see how they break it up.
Yeah. How TAPPS. How TAPPS. Looks into it. But you could look at New Braunfels Christian. They've been a really
New Braunfels solid. Yes.
Yeah, they've been a solid team, but you also got to give it to the Atonement. Remember, they used to play fall soccer for TAPPS. Now they made that transition to the winter. The last couple of years, they've really risen their program, and maybe they get a win back when they play New Braunfels Christian. Maybe they get that win back and end up tying for the district title. So,
I still wish that TAPPS would have combined the D5 and D6 together for that, because that would have been 9 teams for here. But I think you would have had a deeper conference, more competitive. Now, if everybody's making the playoffs, I guess nothing to really worry about. But to me, especially where you have the girls kind of all bunched up and then the boys kind of split. I won't lie to you, that still kind of sours me. Moving over to the ladies, Division 1, District 3, St. Michael's and Antonian, each 3-0. On it here, TMI, St. Dominic's 1-2, and then unfortunately for SanAntonio Carnarvon, 0-3 in district. To me, Antonian and St. Michael Catholic, the CP, no shock on there here. And like I said here, when those two play, I think you mentioned pre-show February 7th is the first time that they'll play. So that might be something if you are a TAPPS fan or you want to go out and support, two high quality, high school girl teams. That would be one to be able to go see for it here. And I'll see if I can pull it up, see if it's in SanAntonio or if it's up in Austin.
They're playing on. I'll give you They're actually Antonio will be hosting St. Michael's on the 7th, so that'll be a key game there for next Friday. So if you have a chance, make sure that could, like I said, they're gonna face each other twice, and out of the last three games. So
yeah,
and Antonio's got to kind of make sure is win at home and also win convincingly, because goal differential may come into this, who determines who gets that top seed. Because like I said, they have to travel the last game of the season. They have to travel to St. Michael's, and it's not an easy place to play over there. So
they got back-to-back trips to Austin in the year. The 14th at St. Dominic, Savigno, and then the 17th there. And then the time frame according to the TAPPS schedule for that one. It shows canceled on their
they play
schedule too.
On the 7th. They'll play at 6. So
Right, but when you look at we'll say it's at 6:00, but we might have to reach out to them because on the status it says canceled, not upcoming when it comes to that here. So that's that might be something just kind of checking out, just kind of reviewing. But yeah, 6:00, here in town to be able to go through and see that here. Division 2, District 3, D3. San Antonio Christian 3-0, St. Mary's and Victoria St. Joe's 1-1, and then St. Anthony's at 0-3. Not really shocking. They don't, I think Christians is San Antonio Christians the class of it. I think St. Anthony will get a win or two, but I don't think they'll contend for the top of this district.
Yeah, a little surprised in Anthony because the last couple of years they've done well. Yeah, so this like I said, this could be rebuilding for them. St. Mary's Hall, like I said, business as usual for them. They're trying to contend into the title, but like I said, this has been San Antonio Christian's district to lose, and they've pretty much had a stranglehold on this for the last few years. So we'll see. Like I said, come playoff time, let's see if they can make a deep run because they've kind of fallen short. So I think we'll see what they can do this year.
Division 3, District 4, Geneva 6-1, JP2, Shirts JP2 5-0. Don't be fooled. Shirts is really the one in control of this. The Atonement Academy at 4-3, New Braunfels Christian Academy 3-4. The Lady Bears from San Marcos Academy 2-2, Holy Cross 1-5, and Corpus Christi JP2 6-1. Them and Holy Cross had a draw here recently. I know Geneva already lost to JP2 once for that here. And if you look at the records, already 15 wins for JP2. They're looking strong for the playoffs. Geneva still very solid. I know preseason I was kind of, hey, did they take a step back? But they've stepped it up for district play.
Yeah, and they got a key game at home on the 6th against JP2. So can they kind of even the score on this? Because like I said, remember last year they ended up tying I think they tied for the district title, and they would kind of they kind of had like a trilogy or I think they played 4 times last year, and so it's like I said, those two have been the class act for this district, and but like I said, in the Braunfels Canyon, like I said, they've also been consistent too. They were kind of in the mix last year a little bit. A little surprised that they're 4th, but Atonement, like I said, just like the boys, the girls are doing a great job, and like I said, we'll see if San Marcos Lady Bears they can kind of try to get back in it. Like I said, they're not far behind New Braunfels Christians, and like I said, they may surprise us. A couple wins there, and they're back in it. So, but that, like I said, February 6th is the key game. Like I said, JP2 at Geneva should be a good game. So you have a chance. I think that one's going to be at 5:00 there. In Bernie, so if you have a chance, check it out.
Moving on to the UIL. So we're going to start out with 4A for here for the Region 4. I will say when we get to, was it 31-30 or 31-32, I think especially on the girls' side, there just wasn't a lot of reportings for that here. So if you are down in that areas, please report to Max Preps. Just please.
If Vincent's watching, hey, can you kind of push them down there to send in their scores?
It's like everybody else, and like I said, some teams are inconsistent, but you can sometimes go through and pick it, and if it's one team that's missing a gamer here, you can at least get kind of a snapshot of what's going on. But when it's 2 teams have district games and nobody else really has any games played, I'm like, there's no reason to go through and put it on there. But 4A District 25, we don't have that problem. Northeast Early College, 7-1, 4-0. However, Austin Achieve, 3-1 in district. Burnett Bulldogs, 3-1-1. Jarrell, 3-1-1. Lago Vista, 2-1-2. So pretty decent into district play at this point. The green is the bigger school, so that'll be D1. The light blue is D2 when it comes to playoffs. And like I said here, probably next time we do these, I'll have kind of a sample sheet of how the first round would look like in the playoffs with D1 and D2. We're going to test it out tonight with the 6A for that here, just because we had all the information for them. Your thoughts on District 25 for her?
Yeah, no surprise. I mean, Northeast moving up from 5A to 4A, they were probably going to be the team to beat. And like I said, they had that run a couple of years ago. So I think they should have no problem winning the district. We'll see how, like I said, who they match up in D1. We'll find out. Like I said, we'll see who they match up in 26 4A.
Mm-hmm. So moving over to the ladies, Lago Vista 9-1. Burnett 5-0. Burnett 5-0. Georgetown Gateway 5-0. Three, I guess you could probably say 3 breakaways. Even if you look at their overall records, 5 losses between the 3 schools. Then you got Northeast Early College 3-2. Austin Travis 2-1, and then Florence Jarrell and Austin East Side for here. So pretty confident saying the top 3. Will most likely, barring injuries and stuff like that, will probably make the playoffs. But coming down to that 4th slot, Northeast Early College or Travis, or do you think Florence or Durrell have, or even Austin East Side, in your opinion, think they have anything to put up a leg with?
I think your 1 through 4 are pretty much going to run away as far as getting the playoff spots. Now, very, very competitive, the top 3 spots, with like I said, Burnett's been kind of the class act of this district. There's a key game tomorrow for them. They are playing Georgetown Gateway, so that'll determine who will be in first place, depending on what Lago Vista does. Yeah, and Lago Vista, I think they're playing against. They have a matchup with Northeast College, which is not a gimme game. So the top 4 teams are playing against each other. So we'll see. And then it doesn't get easier for Lago Vista. They got to go with Gateway, and then they finish off with Burnett. So they're now the top 4 teams are now starting to kind of play against each other. And then, like I said, within probably maybe by the end of next week, we'll find out who. As far as
next time we do our standings here, we'll have a clearer picture as well.
Who's in first place? Yeah.
In 26, no district play as of yet. I think they start this week. They
start this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Bandera, Marble Falls, Canyon Lake, Wimberley, Fredericksburg had a hiccup, and Davenport. To me, still a little bit disappointing. But still everything to play for. Everybody's still 0-0 where it matters for that here. So any quick thoughts on 26 since there's really no district?
Well, if you look at this district, it pretty much I think Marble Falls is the favorite, and like I said, they have a good squad this year again. The run that they had last year, like I said, I think they're looking to kind of equalize it again this year. But I'm a little disappointed with Davenport. But the thing is with Davenport, they have played some teams that, they're a couple classifications up. So maybe that record may fool you a bit. But like I said, if you look at their schedule, and I'll kind of list it a little bit quick. So they tied Panther Creek. Panther Creek of Frisco is one of the top teams in 4A. But like I said, they lost a really tough Frisco Emerson team, Los Fresnos, Medina Valley, Steele, and Judson. So they're playing teams that are higher division than them. But I think this is, and the whole purpose was that to get ready for this district because they know they're going to have to contend with Marble Falls. And like I said, it's going to be a dogfight for them for this district title. And we have here.
We got the guy that got fogged out trying to head up 281 yesterday.
Yeah, I sure did on Tuesday night. I was heading up to go see Piper in Smithson Valley, but I know we're talking 4A right now, so we'll get back to that, I guess, later.
Moving over to the ladies, Wimberley, Davenport, Fredericksburg, Canyon Lake, Marble Falls, and then Bandera for that here. So this is one that we knew was going to be a dogfight between the 5 teams, and so far, early season action, it showed that.
Yeah, like I said, for Davenport, this is their year. This is their year to, now that Bernie's not there, that they have to kind of run the roost. But Wimberley's also having a great season. I think that the championship is going to come down to those two. But you may have some dark horses on this one in the name of Fredericksburg and Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake beat Canyon, which is a 6A this past week. So, and Canyon, you know how Canyon's been playing well the last few years. So, this is going to be a very, like I said, a drag out, knockout type of district. Marble Falls may have a say also too, but like I said, as far as when the dust clears, like I said, it's going to be between Davenport and Wimberley. But I think the top 4 slots that you have right there, I think they're more like are going to be your playoff teams.
Yeah, and this is or going back to that district, if you can. I think I've talked about this before regarding this district, maybe possibly seeing, 2 teams out of this district, representing Region 4, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, especially here on the girls' side with Wimberley and Davenport being as strong as they are, and who knows with Fredericksburg and Canyon Lake with that result.
So moving on to 27 boys, district Memorial, Lavernia, Gonzales, each 2-0. Lowling 1-1 with SanAntonio Cole. Kennedy, Young Men's, and Yoakum. Yoakum to me is a little bit surprised on the disappointing side. 0-7. Now I didn't expect them to, like last couple of years that we've been kind of following. They've always typically been mid-pack, maybe not up there with Lavernia. I think it's Lavernia. Historically, that's been leading this district, but for them off to a slow start. But your thoughts on the district of 27 boys at this point?
I think the 2 favorites are going to be Lavernia and Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
They actually play against each other. Memorial's at Lavernia on the 7th, and I actually got to see Memorial play when they played Cole. Very good team. They got some talent. They can touch the ball. Very active. They communicate well coached. And I remember Memorial gave some fits to Lavernia. Well, they stole that district out a couple of years ago from them. But the one dark horse of this team is Gonzales. I think they're starting to piece things together, and they're off to a good start in district play. They may be, like I said, that little monkey wrench on like I said, this district. You could give a loss to Lavernia or Memorial if they don't, if they kind of take them lightly. And then the 4th spot, I think it's going to be up for grabs. You can look at the records on the teams. They're just, it's pretty much kind of balanced. Normally you would think Kennedy would get it, but I think Kennedy is probably having to rebuild in here. They haven't been off to a good start. Cole, first year in UIL. Like I said, I got to see them play. They got some good players there too. They got the first ever district win, so congrats to them on getting the first ever district win. Maybe they'll surprise and get that 4th spot.
Moving over to 27 girls, Lavernia 2-0, Gonzales 2-0, Colin Memorial 1 win, 1 draw, Lowling 1 loss, Lowling and Yoakum 1 loss and 1 draw, Kennedy, and then the young women's leadership 0-2. To me, Lavernia is the class of this one here. Cole, a bit surprising overall record and holding strong for being a new school in 4A.
Yeah.
Or in this, because they weren't in UIL, right?
UIL,
so it's
right?
not that they were for that, but stepping up to UIL conference.
Yeah, I watched them last Friday. Against Memorial, they tied 0-0. but they had the better chances. They were just kind of unlucky and unable to finish. They got a really good forward up top. She just wasn't kind of on target. Like I said, I think they have a good chance of maybe getting to the playoffs. But I think this is kind of like the Lavernia Invitational. They should dominate this district. Now it's going to be key there because they're going to be in Division One. Are they going to be in that collision course with Davenport? And that, I think that'd be a dynamite game to watch. So if that does happen, that'd probably be like your second round game, which will be a shame. One of them's going to have to probably go home.
Or yeah, that's true with Davenport or Wimberley, depending on the district champion, right?
Well, the Division One because of
Division One, yeah.
And so moving Wimberley will be D2, so we don't have to worry about that unless Banderas.
So it'll be a Lavernia Davenport game. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
So moving to District 28, boys, not a lot in the district record-wise, not a lot. Pleasanton 1-1, Floresville 1-0, Hondo 1-0. Somerset, Uvalde, I couldn't find a score for the match there. Poteet 0-2, and Pearsall's that magic team that doesn't play, and then all of a sudden you'll see them playing in district. So I don't know what to think about that, but if they're going to be playing or not, because they are a smaller new school. But this is, I think, Floresville is usually the favorite on this. Is that, if memory serves me correct?
Yeah. Floresville and Pleasanton are usually kind of the two team schools that are typically on top, and a little bit background for as far as Floresville. I know that they kind of got into the club scene about 3 or 4 years ago with their club Flowtown Kicks. And so I've been able to play against some of those teams when I was coaching AJ's team, the last couple years before AJ came over. So when I was coaching the club, we did play against some of those teams, and they've got some good players out there, some talented kids, and some of the coaches are leading them in the right directions as far as clubs. So I'm always curious to see when we play against teams like that, smaller towns and such. Bastrop, I know Lockhart is another one that we've had the privilege of playing against, and they've got some quality teams. But speaking of Floresville again, they're heading in the right direction, and give them another 3 or 4 years, and I think that they're going to be one of those teams that you see in 4A, maybe down the road could be potentially 5A, that we kind of see that community start to grow, that soccer community start to build and grow off of what they've already established these first 3 or 4 years. So, good recognition that I've seen for Floresville as far as, building their community. Even driving through their town, you see the little ones, the academy and junior academy playing out there, on times that I've gone out of town that way and seeing them play, build up that soccer community. So that's pretty cool to see. But I would keep an eye on them. And Pleasanton's kind of been around for a while. They started building their program about 20 years ago. And they're one of those that's usually up there. I know that their overall record, which again, throw out the overall record. District is where it matters the most. I know you and Rafa have hit that over the people's head before, where it's just like overall record, throw it out there. Like just district is really matters.
Yeah, if you look at Floresville, they actually started 6-0, but they've lost. Then they end up losing. I think they lost quite a few games, but they actually went to that Border Olympics tournament. But they had some decent results. They actually tied at Laredo Alexander, lost them in the shootout. They lost 1-0 to Veterans Memorial. Economides, who's probably one of the best teams in the Valley currently right now, they lost them 1-0. And then they had a couple tough ones with Austin High. They lost to Fredericksburg, but then they bounced back. They got a 6-0 win over Pleasanton. So, I think they've, like Steve said, they're starting to kind of challenge themselves now, and they're starting to kind of piece things together a bit. And there could be that one team in the future that's gonna, really kind of make some noise, in the playoffs. And then the other teams, you got Uvalde. Keep an eye on Uvalde. Like I said, I know they started out, but normally they kind of, once they get dished around, they start kind of settling. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are teams like the what Floresville's doing. They're doing it the right way and challenging themselves and going to those kind of tournaments where hey, let's go and get experience against some of these top-notch teams across the state, and that's what's really going to start building your program. So you kind of already see, okay, where do we stand compared to teams that we would possibly play in the playoffs? And they're not just playing teams around the South San Antonio area or San Antonio area. They're expanding and going out and challenging themselves. That's what's going to get you more experience and allow your players to grow. So that's what you want to see.
So on the girls' side, not a lot to talk about. Floresville, Hondo, Pleasant, and Poteet all ended it in draws the first week. So it's early. It's early. It's very early. And like I said here, I'm not sure if some didn't report or not. But when we come back in a couple of weeks, I'm assuming this will probably be filled in a little bit more. Really not a whole lot to say on this one at this point, unless you guys got something to add.
Just, I guess, their usual suspects are usually Floresville. Well, last year was Floresville, Pleasanton, and Uvalde. Those are probably your three. Is this year if Hondo finally gets in? Because remember last year, I think Somerset snuck in that last.
Knock them out, the last week.
Knocked them out, yeah. So is this their year finally they make the playoffs and so forth? So it's interesting that we saw all those ties. So maybe we see it
right now.
Yeah.
I was just like, really? So 2 matches, they're there. There's a surprise on here, according to Rafa and District 29 boys. Santa Gertrudis Academy, 5-0, 4-0. Beeville Jones, 3-1. London, team that I like, Ingleside Mustangs, or like I guess I follow. They're pretty active on social media and will put out results for this district here if Max Preps doesn't have it. Ingleside Mustangs. They got off to a slow start, but the coach had been saying, "Hey, watch out! Our roster's not complete." And they had somebody making their first appearance. I think he had either a brace or a hat trick, something outstanding. But Rafa, your thoughts on District 29 and your surprise that you're seeing?
Yeah, the St. Grudas with the lowest enrollment of the whole district, leading it. For me, I would, normally your 2 top team. Really the top team should be like London's been one of the most consistent teams in the last few years. I know they're 2-0, so they maybe haven't faced each other, but maybe St. Gertrudis may be for real this year, and they get in, and it could be a surprise. Beeville, I think Beeville, like I said, there's one of those middle pack teams that does make the playoffs. Year in, year out. Same thing with Tulsa Midway. Little surprise, Callan's kind of a little down there, but I think like I said, the next few weeks you'll start kind of see everything kind of settle the storm. You'll have an idea of who's going to go where as far as Division I, Division II, and who's going to win the district. But I still think, like I said, it's going to be London.
And I know we mentioned, I think it was Beeville, Beeville Jones that had the 18-0 over Kingsville King, the Brahmas there for that here. So padding the goal difference on that one here. So I know we mentioned it. So, but like I said here, it's through there. Looking at the ladies' side of 29, London 4-0, Cal Allen 4-0, and I know you mentioned that's kind of your favorite previously. Rockport Fulton, Beeville Jones at 2-2, Toulouse Midway 1-2, and then it's still early, but a few teams 0-2 and 0-3. But your thoughts on the 29 ladies?
It's pretty much as what you expect. Like I said, the last couple of years, London or Callan really has been the one that's kind of been dominating the last few years. We'll see how they do, once they get into the playoffs, since they are going to be Division One. So, are they in the collision course with Davenport or Lavernia? That's going to be interesting there.
Yeah, because they were a regional semifinalist, right? Last year,
yeah
was. Yeah.
And then they made it a state a couple years ago too. And
London or Cal Allen did.
Callan.
Cal Allen, right? Yeah.
And
yeah, these are the usual suspects on top, with the Pirates and Wildcats. Well, I guess this is
double Pirates.
Yeah. So the London Pirates and Cal Allen Wildcats on the girls' side. Those are two teams that have deep runs in the playoffs. So this is not too surprising to see them at top of the District 29.
And we know, and the reason why finishing first or second won't matter between the two of those, outside of bragging rights, is London will be D2 and Cal Allen will be D1.
Is that the color coding? So blue is going to be more like D2.
The D2,
and green will be D1.
D1.
That makes sense.
So, but yeah, just looking at their enrollment, 540 out, unless Bishop, even if Bishop pops up, they would still be D2. So London will be in D2. There's no question. Cal Allen at 1180, they will be in D1 if they make the playoffs. So they'll be on separate tracks for that. District 30 boys, Mission Idea North, 4-0, Hidalgo, 4-1, Far, Valley View, 2-0, and then it kind of gets in the mixed results here. I know Hidalgo, Valley View, and I think Idea North has been pretty competitive at least last year. I believe they were. If I got my Idea schools right along those lines here. But any surprises on 30?
It's kind of the same thing. I mean, it was pretty much the Valley View moving up from 5A to 4A. They were looking at probably maybe being one of the favorites, in Region 4. But like I said, they had to deal with Hidalgo. Hidalgo, like I said, they won state title 2 years ago. So it's going to come down to those two. Mission, like I said, Idea, like I said, kind of the surprise right now, kind of leading the pack. But like I said, still early, so we'll see what happens.
And my color coding on this one's wrong. This was something I was implementing late, and I messed up on this one. Because 386 is less than 1,300, just barely. But
yeah, well, I got a little snippet of behind the scenes on your PDF that you sent me today, Harry. So yeah, no, 52 pages. Yeah, you're fine.
And here's where we get real thin information. District 30, the only one that really has anything is Far, Vanguard, Academy, Rembrandt, 5-0, Valley View 3-1, and then Hidalgo Ole College 1-1. But there's not enough really to kind of baseline here. I'm not sure if there's any. If you want to pinpoint maybe your favorites, not favorites.
I think it's an open race, but But I don't know, the Valley View girls team's been, like I said, they've been kind of the one that's been the consistent one each year for, as far as getting to the playoffs. But like I said, you have all those kind of the charter schools that it's kind of diluted a lot of the talent around. So that's why it's making things kind of more even and so forth. So, but like I said, we'll see what surprises. We probably won't see many of them coming out after round 1 or 2. So, but like I said, we'll see how the playoffs
moving to 31 boys, kind of very similar with 31 girls. I don't think I have anything for 31 girls. Progresso undefeated, 16-0, 4-0. Donna 2-2, and then everybody's got 1 or 2 outside of Raymondville. That's unfortunately off to a slow start. I know Rafa pre-show said this is the Progresso Invitational for that here as far as for the Red Ants. they are a quality team, so you got to pay attention to them.
You know, they might not even have somebody to contend them in Division II. If you looked at, you know, they're gonna avoid like teams like.
No, they'll be Division One.
They'll be D1.
No,
They'll be D1.
Oh, they'll be D1 low.
Yeah, because I don't think Raymondville. I don't think
unless Raymondville comes out of
well,
nowhere,
even if Raymondville does turn it around, they still have the second highest.
Here's the interesting part. So they are going to do D1. So I probably got the color wrong. That second round game is probably going to be one of those Brownsville teams, and they can't take them lightly. So they could be. And then you got the second round game. Could it be could be Hidalgo or could it be Valley View? So it's not a gimme for them. They're going to have to beat some quality teams.
So speaking of 32, Brownsville Idea Frontier, Port Isabel 3-0. Brownsville Idea Riverview 2-1, Rio Hondo La Feria. This one's also kind of real mixed when you get down to the Valley Brownsville schools on reporting at 4A, 5A and 6A lot better, but at the 4A region, it's still a struggle for it here. Any thoughts on the Idea college prep schools that seem to be dominating down in the Valley?
Looks like they're stealing all the talent from Porter and Rivera and Lopez, and I mean, especially Hannah, because Hannah's not doing well this year. So I think this one's kind of like whoever is playing well is probably going to end up, in the playoffs. Like I said, I think I think all the teams are pretty much even. It's just who gets hot at the very end, and I think it's the same thing with the girls' teams too. Yeah, whoever gets it's consistent at the very end.
And I think for 4A on the boys' side, anyways, I think it's the Progresso and Renash Invitational, right? Progresso, especially with that 16-0 record that they have already posted so far. So I'm curious to see what their results are, though.
So here's the thing: is I'm not going to put we got to see how the matches match up here, but Progresso would get the runner-up in 32 for the first round.
So it'd be Rio Hondo.
Then in the second round, they would get the winner of 30 and 29 runner-up for that here. So that's so for Progresso, you'd figure the first round is going to, and this is no disrespect to the teams in 32 because we got to see how it shakes out. But based on history and performance, it seems like they'd be moving on until that.
They're gonna have to play either Los Hidalgo or Valley View. I know Progresso's coach is a former Valley View head coach. That'd be interesting if they face off each other because that'll be like and then the Valley. Well, it's funny that the Hidalgo coach, the former coach, is now the Valley View coach. So they're kind of